Aloha mai kako. Mahalo for joining us for Heluhelu Mele. I'm Kumu Maile na ehu from the island of Molokai. Today we're going to be reading this book called Kaimi's First Roundup. Kaimi is a young Paniolo from Hawaii. A Paniolo is a cowboy, a Hawaiian cowboy. And he's so badly wants to be like his papa and his uncles. And he gets to spend the day doing a roundup for cattle up in the mountains with them. Heluhelu kako. The morning was still dark when Papa's truck rumbled up to the corral, but Kaimi was wide awake. Today was his first roundup. The Paniolo were already in the pen, finding their horses and leading them away. Papa caught a buckskin mare for himself and a gelding paint for Kaimi. Kaimi stroked the horse's soft nose as Papa hoisted the saddle onto its back. When the horses were ready, Papa reached into his saddlebag and brought out a fine kaulaili, a rawhide rope. Boy, Papa said, all you need is one strong horse, one strong heart, and one strong kaulaili. If you have those things, you can be a Paniolo. Kaimi's heart danced as Papa handed him the kaulaili, the rope. All week he had watched Papa make it, stretching the leather, cutting it into strands, and weaving it into a tight braid. More than anything, Kaimi wanted to use it today to rope a bull for Papa. Kaimi rode with the Paniolo into the vast, quiet grassland. Not even the birds made a sound, and the last crickets of the night fell silent as the horses approached. All Kaimi could hear was the muted thump of hoofballs and the whisper of wind through the yellow grass. The earth was in shadows and the sky was streaked with blue, pink, and gold. The cowboys rode many miles across the wind-blown pasture but found no sign of cattle. Kaimi practiced roping the bushes, imagining they were bulls, until Papa told him to stop. They tromped through the lantana patch, startling a wild boar. It streaked away with a squeal, but not even Papa reached for his hunting gun. Today was not for hunting. They rode all morning until the sun was high in the sky. Kaimi wondered if they would ever find cattle. At last, they stopped at the foot of a tall pu'u, or a hill, bulging from the plains. At a nod from the foreman, Papa spurred his horse to the top of the hill. He stopped there and gazed in one direction, then the other, from the mountains to the sea. When he rode down again, he was smiling. The cattle are on the other side of the pu'u, not far away, he said. The Paniolo slipped quietly into their positions and the foreman gave them silent orders with his hands. Nobody wanted to scare away the cattle. Papa leaned over so close Kaimi could feel the warmth of his whiskery cheek. Ride with me, boy, he whispered. Stay close and do what I do. Kaimi's hands flew to his kaulaili. Finally, I get a chance to rope a bull. Papa smiled and shook his head. Put that away for now. You won't need it today, he said. Then he moved to a spot near the back of the herd. Kaimi's heart sank. How could he show Papa he was a real Paniolo if he couldn't even rope one bull? But he knew better than to argue. The roundup began. Across the pasture, Kaimi heard the cowboys shout as they drove scattered groups of cows and calves into the tight herd. He and Papa moved in on a bunch grazing in a stand of guava trees. Hey, 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 they shouted as they waved their hats and slapped their thighs. The animals stared at them with big eyes, then glanced around fearfully. Just as they began to move, a young mother cow bolted, scattering the group like spilled marbles. Papa's horse sprang after the runaways. I'll catch them. You hold the rest, he shouted, just before he disappeared into the brush. One cow stood on the far side of the clearing, another hid behind a distant tree, and another peered out from a tangle of scrub. They all watched him, ready to run. How could he hold them in one place? Kaimi prodded his horse toward the nearest cow, hoping to drive it closer to the others, but it dashed into the brush. The next one followed, and the next. Each cow he approached ran away until he had lost them all. Kaimi wished he could run away too. He had only wanted to show Papa he was ready to be a Paniolo. Instead, he had lost all the cattle. In the distance, the herd bellowed and snorted, and the cowboy shouted, "Mahope, mamu, hele, hele, hele." As the cowboys drove into the last of the herd, Ka'imi heard another sound above the din. Ma, ma, ma. He followed the cries through the twisting paths of thicket. In a small clearing, a tiny calf called and called for its mother. Its cries grew louder as the herd got farther away. Ka'imi nudged his horse closer to the frightened baby. He knew what he had to do. As Ka'imi approached the roundup, he saw a large herd with lots of new calves. The Paniolo were laughing, happy that they would be paid well for the day's work. But Papa had a worried look, and Ka'imi realized he'd been gone for a long time. "Hooey!" called Ka'imi from across the field. Everyone stopped to watch as he rode out of the forest, leading the calf with his beautiful new kaula ili. Papa broke into a big smile. He swung down off his horse and kneeled in the dirt. He checked the calf's mouths and eyes, felt carefully down each of its legs, and finally leaned over to peer under its belly. "Ah, pipi carne," he announced. "Boy, you roped your first bull." The Paniolo cheered and slapped Ka'imi on the back. Papa put his heavy hand on Ka'imi's shoulder, beaming his approval. Ka'imi's heart soared. "Lucky I had my kaula ili," he said. "Yes," Papa said. "Now you are a real Paniolo." Pipi holoka'au. What a great pukea. And again, that was written by Ilima Loomis and illustrated by Don Robinson. Such beautiful colors and artwork in this book as well. You know, on Molokai, where I live, Paniolo culture is very, very strong, but it really is strong all over Hawaii. I wanted to share with you a very special song called Ulupalakua, and it speaks of an area upcountry Maui that is very famous for having cattle and lots of Paniolo. The word Ulupalakua, the name Ulupalakua, actually means the ripened breadfruit on the back, because it was known that there was a famous chief that really loved to get the ulu from up there, but he lived Kipahulu side, which is Hana side. So whenever he would get his helpers, his kokua, his runners to go get the ulu up country and then bring it back to Kipahulu, by the time the runners would get to Kipahulu, the ulu would be ripe. So that's where the name Ulupalakua comes from. But we're gonna sing this really special song, and I'm gonna show you some of the motions that go along with the words. So the first words are kaulana mai nei. So you're gonna go kaulana, famous. So you're gonna go kaulana mai nei. And then you're gonna go up the mountain, up Ulupalakua. And then niki niki means the cold air. The song talks about the cold air. So you're gonna go he niki niki ahi ahi. And you're going to make your home, the home of the Paniolo. So make your hand like that, ka homea'o, and swing your lasso, Paniolo. Then the next verse, we're going to do the first verse, every verse we're going to do twice. But the next verse's motions and words go like this. So hevehi e kule, so we're decorated with a lei. So we're going to make the lei go overhead. And the lei is made out of the fragrant avapuhi, yeah? Hevehi e kule. Then let's make all of A'o Ulupalakua again, up the mountain. A'o Ulupalakua. And then we're going to make it smell real good, fragrant. And we go ona ona meka and make your pua avapuhi. And then we're going to look. He beauty ma'olino. Such a beauty to look at. The last verse. Ha'ina mai kapuana. Then we're going to make Ulupalakua. A'o Ulupalakua. And then we're going to do He Niki Niki, the pinching cold wind. He niki niki ahi ahi. Make your home. Ka homea'o Paniolo. And I'm going to invite Kahale to come here and play the music, and I'll do the singing and the dancing, and he's going to harmonize along with me. So I'm going to make some room for Kahale here. I'm going to go next to him. Hello, my Kahale. Aloha.
Aloha.
My cutting a little bit more in the front. Okay. Ah, oh yeah. Follow along with us. Kaulana mai nei. Swing those lasso. One more time. Kaulana. Kaulana mai. Sing along with me. So again, thank you so much for joining me for Heluhelu and Mele today. Kaimi's first roundup. Check it out. The great story about the Hawaiian Paniolo. Ahui ho, ahui ho, malama pono. Ahui ho, malama pono. Ahui ho, ene. Ahui ho, ene. Malama pono ene.